Hello, everybody. Daniel from the Venza Dutch office here for this webinar. Thank you for tuning in. We're so glad you're here. Today, we're going to have a conversation about innovation management. This conversation will be led by our very own Barbara Espinosa, who is our product manager. So we're looking forward to hearing from Barbara. She will have the floor in a moment. But before we do, let me take a second to introduce my friend Juan Carrillo from Karisma. For those that are just tuning in for the very first time, our approach with our webinars is we like to have industry experts, people that know the stuff, and to be present during our webinars, so that they can either validate what the presenter is saying in real time, or provide alternative approaches and thoughts. So Juan Carlos has volunteered his time to be here as our industry expert and making sure that Barbara stays honest with what she's presenting. Juan Carlos, do you mind taking a second to tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Karisma, and a little bit about Karisma, maybe? Do you mind sharing?
Definitely. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. Daniel, Barbara, thank you for the invitation. My name is Juan Carlos Carrillo, as Daniel already says. I've been working for Karisma for the last 16 years, and my role is basically to take care about the most important asset of the company, which is the information. But also, I have to say that some roles are now attached to the technology information role, which is the innovation, the digital transformation, and all these processes that they are, very, very trending these days. And well, a pleasure to be here and to share all the knowledge. Karisma, it's a young company. It's only 20 years old. We manage 11 brands, and we have a little bit less than 5,000 rooms. And I'm the IT director for all this hospitality infrastructure.
Yeah. So you say 11 brands, and in how many countries?
We are currently in 4 countries: Mexico, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and Montenegro in Europe.
Yeah. So that's not much to handle. 11 brands across 4 countries. I mean, so what do you take care of that by noon? What do you do in the afternoon then, after all the IT and innovation management concerns for this massive enterprise across the globe? Wow. So yes, indeed, we have a true industry expert, Juan Carlos. We are so appreciative that you've taken time to be with us. Always fun to chat with you, just on a personal basis, but also to take your time here during the workday to speak. Great. Okay, so Barbara, you have a little bit of a history with Karisma, haven't you?
Yes, I do. I can even say it's my alma mater.
Yes, that's right. Graduate of all things projects at Karisma once upon a time, before joining Venza. So we're very, very appreciative of having you and all your skills on our team. So innovation management, Barbara, what have you got lined up for us today?
Okay, well, we're going to start with an overview of innovation management, followed by talking about smart innovation, process, principles, some key areas, and finally some instances that will be impacted by innovation management processes. Okay. So to get started, what is innovation management? Mainly in business and in life, the only constant we have is change, right? Innovations are continuous, and the question is whether your business can harness them and how your innovation pipeline works and what methods you have in place to ensure that the change is smooth. So innovation management stands for the way that we manage these innovations, and it includes tools that the organizations use to create common understandings and goals. So innovation management goes beyond R&D. It's organization-wide. It's not only IT, it includes every level to contribute to this creative developments. The tools that innovation management includes are brainstorming, prototyping, lifecycle management, and there should also be an end step of evaluation to ensure that there's a security check, right? Speaking of cybersecurity, we want to make sure that in the evaluation process, we verify that the innovations are secure. The goal in the end is to decrease development time and to improve the quality of these innovations. So for that, we use different frameworks and international standards such as ISO. As you know, ISO is the International Organization of Standardization, especially focused on establishing global standards for business information security management systems. And in this case, we're talking about the ISO 56000, which includes the family of standards for implementing and improving innovation management. It mainly relies on a plan, do, check, act, PDCA cycle, which goes to something my dad always says: plan your work your plan, then evaluate and implement any efficiencies that you may find in the evaluation. So this ISO standard provides general guidelines that the businesses around the world should look to when implementing an innovation management program. Why innovation is important in hospitality specifically? Well, it provides opportunities to optimize existing processes, and that improves efficiency and increases the productivity as the bottom line. And another important reason for hospitality is the continued pressure to evolve, right? From competition, from within the industry, OTAs, sharing economies with options like Airbnb, and finally the market. The younger generations of guests have shifting preferences. They are more demanding. They want the immediate. They want the new and exciting. So that's why these new markets continuously expect improvements and innovation.
Yeah. Hey, can I just ask you a question, Barbara? Or I want to ask a question for Juan Carlos. So when you were starting with Karisma, we were starting just around the same time we were establishing Venza, and I usually kind of pride myself on being hip to some of the the new terms in the industry and what people are talking about. And it seems to me that the concept of innovation management, people weren't really talking about it until, say, in the last couple of years, 3 years. Is it something that you two have been just hearing about? Is it or is it something that always has been a conversation? The term innovation management, a phrase that is discussing, is it something internally at Karisma always been talking about, or is it gotten more traction only in the last couple of years?
Yes. Let me add, or let me share my personal thought, which is also coming from experience. And personal experience on companies, on organizations is very valuable, but we need to move, and successful companies needs to move away from implementing technology from the guts. When you start thinking about, I feel that I need to do this, I feel we need to move away from the feeling, and we need to take advantage of all the knowledge and all the benefits of something that already exists, which is an excellent reference, such as ITIL, or these reference frames, that give us the opportunity to learn and to go in advance to what is needed and what is required for a company. So yes, now going back to innovation management, it was something that is recent, but it's actually coming from several years that we were going little by little, getting the approach of needing new processes, of getting automation, making processes more efficient. So at the beginning, it was like a special requirement, and more it was being transforming into what we know today as the innovation management,
Yeah.
which is coming along with discipline, order, structure. So everything is now called innovation management, but at the beginning it was the need of making the processes more efficient and more revenue, more profitable.
Yeah. So I'm hearing it's part of the conversation became a bit of a buzzword because of recent developments, but it has been a trend line that has been growing. But to Barbara's point, shifting generational requirements from guests, travelers. Not everybody's gray-haired old dudes, but rather young ladies and their families wanting to travel. And then also we have some recent world events, right? The global pandemic, the supply chain challenges, staffing challenges in hospitality. That maybe is somewhat resulting a result of the global pandemic. So really has made this moment sort of acute for innovation management. Yes, Barbara, don't you think?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. With the pandemic, the hospitality industry had to shift priorities and adapt really quick to be able to accommodate the government and safety demands, right? As well as the market demands. But going to Juan Carlos' point and back to the next point, which is smart innovation, that's right. It's not something like I need to implement, and it happens a lot with sales, marketing, at the guest services level, right? Like we need to have this brand new tool or this great new process because one guest requested it.
It's whiz bang. Hey, it's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, or this is the latest trend. We need to implement it. Is it actually viable? So that takes us to the smart innovation process. Not all innovations are beneficial. Some aspects of business are tried and true, and new is not always better. So there needs to be a whole evaluation process. Effective innovation must operate at the intersection of viability, desirability, and feasibility. So when we talk about viability, does the innovation operate within budget constraints? And does it offer an attractive ROI, an attractive return on investment?
Yeah.
Desirability, we go back to the market, right? Does the innovation provide value, like added values to our guests? Is it something that is really common in the market, that it's going to impact the market? Are we anticipating the market needs? Or are we just reacting to one or two guest complaints, for example, right? Yeah. Does it adapt to our market, our specific market? Because sometimes we have niche markets in the different hotels, right?
Yeah.
And finally, feasibility. Is the tech and the processes needed to power this innovation available? And what would be the timeline? Is the timeline feasible? Is this innovation going to be available in a timely manner, or when the pause has just passed by? Right?
Yeah. So making those determinations, kind of that really dovetails on what Juan Carlos you were saying about when you're making those decisions, sort of making sure that they're data-driven decisions, that you're validating, what innovations you're looking for. Yeah. So do you look toward you had mentioned some frameworks to look for validation. Is that what we're hearing from you?
Yes, just adding to what Barbara just mentioned, probably one of the first and more relevant processes of innovation that we can remember recently, and it's already several years ago. It's the adapting to the generation of the new clients, millennials, centennials. So hospitality needs to be prepared in advance, needs to review everything that goes and fulfill these needs. And yes, now going to the technological part, yes, we should be we need to be sure that we are in compliance, that the information is reliable, secure, it's available. All of these frame reference that we use, they are giving us the tools and the trust that we are doing it okay, that we are fulfilling the needs of the market, and we are being we are innovating.
Yeah, good. So talk about the process then, Barbara. What is the process for innovation management?
Well, the process of implementing innovation can be understood as the innovation value chain. It's a three-stage process. It starts with the idea generation, then converting the ideas through development, taking into account the smart innovation portion that I just mentioned, and then the diffusion of the developed concepts. So when we talk about generations, where do these ideas come from? Is it from brainstorming? Is it from cross-unit collaboration? Sourcing outside of the company or even outside of the industry, right? Leveraging some other industry's innovations to generate a good idea in ours. Then conversion, screening the ideas for utility, funding the best, and then prioritizing their development. And finally, diffusion, getting the buy-in across your organization. Funding the best ideas would require that buy-in, right? Identifying actors accountable for the rollout, and finally, the verification process. So have tests in place that can confirm that the changes do not introduce new vulnerabilities. Speaking of cybersecurity, right? An example is having penetration testing when we talk about technology, or external ASV scanning services that Venza and Cybertech we're very familiar with, and we're running day in and day out to ensure that these innovations are safe in our clients' environments. Now, this value change can be intentionally created by operating according to set principles. So that's assigning task innovation teams, for example, to lead the innovation management process. They can be prioritized by executive leadership with discretion to sandbox ideas or doing some sort of trial period. And there are several roles that need to be involved in this team, like having someone in charge of the strategy, the strategists, product experts, technologists, program managers or project managers, IP experts, visionaries, right? You have this different type of profiles within an organization that you can leverage to create these innovation teams. Create a full culture of innovation within the organization, having the support from management and allowing free thinking across the different levels within the organization, so everybody feels free and encouraged to speak up and provide their ideas, having positive reinforcement for innovative behaviors, for example. And finally, setting goals, setting achievements or objectives, using customer research, and aligning the innovation with the overall business strategies, right? So if you set up your goals for the year and you channel the innovation ideas towards those goals, then you would have that pretty aligned.
Yeah, this sounds great on paper. Innovation teams sounds great. Having a company culture of innovation. I'm curious, from your perspective, Juan Carlos. I mean, we at the top of the webinar, you were talking about the multiple brands across multiple countries internationally. How easy is it for hoteliers out there, leaders in IT, to encourage kind of innovation teams and an innovation mindset among the staff? Is that something that is on your mind? Is that something that your team is doing? Purposefully creating an environment for innovation. How does it happen at Karisma?
Definitely, yes, it is always in our mind, you know, speaking from the technological point of view, because as you probably know and state about it, innovation begins with people. It is not beginning, it's not starting with the IT. We need to first transmit and convince and train the people properly in order for them to take advantage of the benefits of the innovation. Innovation without the companion of the people probably will not bring the benefits, and it might also impact the organization negatively.
Yeah.
So we need to first take care of people, train them well, transmit the purpose, the benefits, the goals, to be aligned together with the implementation of this innovation,
Yeah.
in order for it to work together with the company goals and to achieve those goals.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you say that within your organization, you encourage if someone within another area at somebody on premise, somebody working on property, if they were to have a suggestion, is it fertile? Is it fertile atmosphere for people to say, this is something that we could explore within Karisma that would be adopted throughout the entire organization? Is that encouraged within the organization?
Yes, I can share that we internally have a permanent campaign that that we give, where we give to everybody the opportunity to share, to suggest, and
Yeah.
to state the benefits of innovating in some particular or in all the process, or in particular, in order to take into the consideration and to be reviewed by a steering committee where this is reviewed.
Oh, wow.
And then we took the decision. We take the decision on where we're gonna go. What are the goals that we wanted to achieve? And yes, everything comes probably from the good idea of somebody on this campaign that we call Karisma, your idea, your vision, our future. That's the
Wow.
name of the campaign.
Fantastic. Very cool. That's awesome. Great. All right. So Barbara, you've got areas of innovation.
Yeah, well, mainly what we've been saying all along and resonating with Juan Carlos' point, most people tend to think innovation is something that belongs to technology, or most people tend to think of technology innovations, but innovations can be anything. It can be in processes, it can be in services, right? The technology is a significant part of it, but it also extends to all the other areas within the organization. Service innovation is one of the main. Process innovation, going back to making processes more efficient, optimizing processes, automating processes, tying it back to technology. And then in service, again, responding to the market's demands. For services, for example, guest expectations are increasing while company inertia resists change, right? So that's a specific challenge to address when you're thinking of an innovation management process. There's demand to personalize the guest experience and simplifies the service delivery at the same time. And also you have all the different regulations and security measures that you need to comply with. So that tends to present another challenge. Process innovation can impact profitability, like JC was saying. New processes for e-commerce, for example, sales, marketing, big data, revenue growth analytics, they may augment the traditional P&L. And finally, sustainability is an emphasis. 80% of organizations are investing in eco-innovation and social responsibility measures, right?
Fantastic. I want to just mention that I've had the opportunity of staying at a Karisma property when a very close friend of mine was getting married, and we stayed at a beautiful property. It was a beautiful destination wedding, and one of the innovations that I found so incredible was the use of the location of the property for the growing of most of the food that was served at the resort. It was just fantastic, the layout there at the Karisma property. What other areas of innovation are going on at Karisma, Juan Carlos? Is there any secrets that you can share about what's special at Karisma in the way of innovation?
Okay, I have to. Now I need to give a spoiler alert. So if I may
Okay.
say it like that, yes, definitely we are working in several other areas, Barbara already mentioned it, sustainability, it's something that we really care about. We're thinking about the future, our future and the future of our sons. So yes, sustainability, it's something that we care. Control of energetics and how we are spending the power and how we produce the power. Services, yes, we wanted to give this individuality and individual experience to the people, because what is the major reference today is that I wanted to see what I want in the moment I need. So conceive this now in hospitality is different. It's a challenge, but that's innovation. That's what innovation is. It's a challenge with some rules, and the challenge is to fulfill those needs, inside of those rules. And that makes you feel really, involved in operation. It is not just administrative processes. It's guest facing technology, is energetics, of course IoT, without with not going into any specific processes, but IoT is definitely a must. And digital transformation on several processes and services that we used to offer as a something that it was probably related with a human touch. Now it's moving to a digital process, something more automatic and more efficient. So yes, that's what we're working from. And it's not just when you're arriving at the properties, it's also from the moment that you're booking a reservation. From that moment, we're looking to improve the experience and to give benefits to our clients.
Yeah, brilliant, lovely. So with the last few minutes, Barbara, instances of innovation management, what have you got?
Well, back to what you were saying, Juan Carlos, personalizing guest experiences, implementing Internet of Things, all of this impact different regulations, different compliance frameworks, right? So you want to save guest preferences, to be able to anticipate their needs and show them what they want when they want it. All of this great things that you just mentioned when you think as a guest of hospitality services. But then in the operation, you also need to comply with GDPR. You also need to comply with the local privacy regulations, with PCI standards, right? So it's important to take into account when we're implementing these innovations to just keep an eye on the specific instances that will be impacted with valuable innovation, right? Privacy by design. This is one of the principles, the main principles of GDPR, and it attempts to create data protection by integrating the data processing activities into the technology and the processes and the innovation that has been implemented at the moment it's created. So then we don't need to go back and mitigate and implement corrective actions, right? If we think about it from the moment of its conception, then you're good to go and you're in compliance. The use of big data analytics to drive targeted marketing, competitor research, and revenue management, and technology to enhance that guest experience, automating the front desk check-in, for example, that famous mobile check-in that came in place after the pandemic, right? NFC payment options, mobile devices as keys, room amenities, including the different smart devices. All of these things, Internet of Things, are really trending, and we really need to be aware of the compliance measures that we need to follow. And finally, when we're implementing software as a service solutions, right, to reduce administration and IT issues, and mainly to reduce risk on our end in the organization. Consider as well the use of the managed security services service provider, such as cybertech, or just to externalize that risk and have all this different SaaS technology and cloud technology available, so that way the risk is outside of the organization. It's always to keep in mind the cybersecurity component when you are designing and when you're implementing an innovation, and finally to have that workflow management all across.
It's an exciting time. It's a challenging time, right? We're in a challenging time in many instances, geopolitically, climate concerns. It's also an exciting time to see, like yourself, Juan Carlos, leaders in hospitality looking at the challenges before us and saying, well, let's not look at it the same old way. Let's, you know, if the only tool that you have is a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail, right? So so look for other tools, look for other ways. I just want to ask you as we wrap up this webinar, do you think we're up for the challenges? Do you think hospitality is up for the challenge? Do you think the innovations are out there? It's just a matter of adoption and selecting the right ones, or do you know that would be an optimistic look, or are you like, wow, we really are? There's concerns ahead. Where are you? Are you an optimist with regards to the future and innovations, or a pessimist?
I am definitely an optimist.
Okay.
I see the glass
Half full.
half full. Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
Because I am sure that technology, actually there's a funny accident and a happy accident that we have in Karisma, because prior to pandemic, we implement the web check-in. So by the time when it was a mandatory thing, it was already implemented, but we were lucky. We were looking for giving the web check-in, and at the end of the way, it was beneficial for us, for our guests. So that's the message that I wanted to send. Don't be afraid of thinking out of the box. Don't be afraid of doing the things different from the traditional hospitality way of doing the things. Innovation is basically a state of mind. It is a way of thinking and conceiving the things that where always there is a space for being better. There is always a space for improvement. So basically, for wrapping up the session, don't be afraid of doing the things differently, because you're probably going to set, or you're going to be probably a reference for how the things will be done in the from that moment and beyond.
It's of all the things that you referenced an innovation that you took advantage of prior to it becoming an acute need, and then it paid off for you. And that's, I mean, I think that's a lesson for us all. And kind of bringing back to at the beginning what Barbara had said, the only thing we can count on, the only constant is change. So anticipate that the changes will be needed. Be on the lookout for innovation, and grow with the bright future. Any closing comments, Barbara? I want to give you the chance to have the last word.
Yeah, well, just recapping a little, innovation is not only about technology, it involves the entire organization. Like Juan Carlos was saying, don't be afraid of putting your ideas out there. You may be reinventing the wheel, or you may be inventing something completely new and setting a standard, right? And finally, have an innovation management process in place that will help streamline all these projects and ensure the viability of these projects as well.
Fantastic. Well, we are just slightly over time for the 30 minutes, and I know Juan Carlos has, I'm sure, got a crazy busy day. Juan Carlos, thank you so much for taking time to be here as our industry expert. We love seeing you as always. Barbara, excellent job. Thank you for presenting, and for those of you out there, thanks for tuning into this webinar. We will see you next time.
We will be ending the webinar now. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So is that it?